The winter wind in the city square bit at my exposed skin, but the cup of hot cocoa in my hands offered a small, temporary shield against the chill. I pulled my black coat tighter, trying to blend into the evening shadows. I was waiting. I was always waiting. "Excuse me," a voice broke through the hum of the city. "Are you a student at the university nearby?" I looked up. A young guy, tall, with the kind of nervous energy that screamed he was working up the courage for this moment. I smiled, a practiced, polite deflection. "No, I'm not a student. I'm waiting for someone." He didn't take the hint. "You look really familiar. Could I get your number? Maybe we could grab coffee?" I sighed internally. Was the Omega scent on me that obvious? Or did I just look like an easy target? "I'm flattered," I said, keeping my voice soft but firm. "But I really can't. My boyfriend is on his way." "Boyfriend?" The kid looked crestfallen, scanning the crowd. "Who, Robert?" I didn't say the name to the kid. I breathed it out as I saw him. 10 yards away, Robert Sterling was cutting through the crowd like a knife through silk. He was wearing a long black trench coat that accentuated his height, his broad shoulders, and that devastatingly cold aura that kept most people at bay. He was a prime alpha, and he wore his status like a second skin, effortless, intimidating, and utterly magnetic. When I saw him, my heart did that stupid, treacherous flip it had been doing for 6 years. I forgot the cold. I forgot the kid hitting on me. I tossed my empty cup into a trash can and jogged toward him. Robert stopped when he saw me. He didn't smile. Robert rarely smiled. But his eyes, usually the color of frozen amber, softened just a fraction. "Have you been waiting long, Eugene?" he asked, his voice a low rumble that vibrated in my chest. He reached out, his hand steadying me by the elbow. "No," I lied, breathless. "Only 10 minutes." He nodded, guiding me toward the parking lot. His car was back at his office, so he took the keys to mine. As he drove us to the restaurant, he put on his earpiece, taking a call from his assistant about some merger in Sector 4. I watched his profile in the passing streetlights. The sharp jawline, the long lashes that cast shadows on his cheekbones. I had known Robert for 10 years. Our parents were business partners. But for the last 6 years, I had been hopelessly, secretly in love with him. I was just the friend. The quiet Omega friend who was safe, who didn't push boundaries. I thought the feelings would fade. They didn't. We had dinner, and then, because I was a glutton for punishment, I agreed to go back to his place to watch the football game. We drank. We drank a lot. The next morning, the sunlight hitting my face felt like an interrogation lamp. I groaned, trying to sit up, but my lower back screamed in protest. My head was pounding, but that pain was nothing compared to the sudden, icy realization of where I was. Gray walls. Minimalist furniture. The scent of cedarwood and rain, Robert's pheromones. It was thick in the air, mixed with the distinct, sweet scent of my own distress. I looked under the sheets. Naked. Bite marks on my collarbone. Oh God. I buried my face in my hands. I had slept with Robert. I, Eugene, the coward who couldn't even confess a crush, had gotten drunk and slept with the one man I swore I'd never touch. The bathroom door opened. Robert walked out. He was wearing low-slung pajama pants and nothing else. His hair was damp, and water droplets traced the lines of his chest muscles down to his abs. There were scratches on his chest. My scratches. He saw me sitting there, frozen. He walked over and sat on the edge of the bed. The mattress dipped under his weight. "You're awake," he said. His voice was calm. Too calm. "Are you uncomfortable?" I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. "I'm sorry about last night, Eugene," he continued, looking me in the eye. "It was unexpected. We didn't use protection. Can you stand? Do you want me to carry you to the shower?" I nearly choked on my own spit. "No," I squeaked, scrambling backward, pulling the sheet up to my chin. "I can walk. I can shower myself." Robert raised an eyebrow, looking at my defensive posture. "Okay. There's a fresh bathrobe in the closet. I'll make breakfast. Call me if you fall." He stood up and left the room. Just like that. I sat there for 5 minutes, trying to process reality. Robert Sterling, the man who wiped his hands with sanitizer if a stranger brushed against him, was making me breakfast after a one-night stand. I dragged myself to the shower. The hot water helped, but it didn't wash away the memory of his hands on me, or the terrifying reality that I had crossed a line I could never uncross. When I finally walked out to the dining room, Wearing his oversized bathrobe, Robert was sitting at the table reading news on his tablet. There were 2 bowls of oatmeal and a spread of side dishes, my favorites from the Cantonese place down the street. Eat, Robert said, not looking up. You need the energy. I sat down gingerly. The chair had a cushion on it that hadn't been there before. My face burned. We ate in silence for a while. Finally, Robert put down his spoon and looked at me. Eugene, he said, do you have anything to say about last night? My heart hammered against my ribs. It was an accident, I stammered, staring at the table. We were drunk. Let's just pretend it didn't happen. We can go back to being friends. Robert leaned back, crossing his arms. His gaze was heavy. Pretend it didn't happen? He repeated. Eugene, look at me. I looked up. I'm not going to pretend nothing happened, he said. I'm responsible for this. And maybe you don't remember, but last night, you said something to me. I froze. What? What did I say? You said you liked me, Robert said casually. You said you've liked me since high school. For 6 years. You asked me why I was so blind. The floor could have opened up and swallowed me whole, and it wouldn't have been enough. I wanted to die. I was drunk, I whispered. Robert didn't let me off the hook. Is it true? Do you like me, Eugene? The kind of like where you want to date me? There was nowhere to hide. He had stripped me bare. Yes, I said, my voice trembling. I like you. I've liked you for 6 years. I didn't want to ruin our friendship, so I never said anything. I thought the feelings would go away. I waited for the rejection. I waited for him to say he was disgusted, or that he only saw me as a brother. Instead, Robert nodded slowly. I see. Are you disgusted? I asked, my voice barely audible. No, Robert said. Loving someone isn't a crime, Eugene. He took a sip of his coffee, then looked at me with a terrifying intensity. So he said, do you want to try dating me? I dropped my spoon. It clattered loudly against the ceramic bowl. What? I said, do you want to date me? Robert repeated, as if discussing a merger, with the intention of marriage. I stared at him. Are you pitying me? Or do you actually like me? Robert didn't lie. It's not pity. But I can't say it's love yet, Eugene. I don't want to lie to you. But we're compatible. My parents are pushing me to settle down. You know me better than anyone. I'd rather try with you than with a stranger. It was a business proposition. A merger of lives. If you're willing, we can date, he said. If it works, we get married. I should have said no. I should have had more self-respect than to accept a relationship based on convenience. But this was Robert. This was the man I had dreamed about for 6 years. Take a few days, Robert said, seeing my shock. You don't have to answer now. I left his apartment in a daze. He drove me home. Well, to my parents' house, because he insisted I needed looking after. Before I got out of the car, he grabbed my wrist. Eugene. Yeah? Why? He asked. Why have you liked me for 6 years? We barely talked in high school. I looked at him. He really didn't remember. It doesn't matter, I said softly. I'll think about your offer. I spent the next 2 days in a fugue state. My sister, Sarah, asked me if I was dying. I told her I was just thinking. I thought about the winter night 6 years ago. I had run away from home after a fight with my dad. I was sitting on a park bench, freezing, no wallet, no phone. Robert had found me. He didn't know me well then, just knew I was the kid from the business parties. He bought me hot cocoa. He sat with me in the cold for an hour, so I wouldn't be alone. He gave me his coat. He didn't remember it. But that night, he saved me. I picked up my phone. I texted him. Okay, let's try. His reply came instantly. Good. Pick you up at 6. The first few weeks of dating Robert Sterling were confusing. I expected him to be distant. I expected a fake relationship. But Robert, it turned out, was a terrifyingly good boyfriend. He picked me up from work every day. He held my hand in public. He took me to dinner, to movies, to galleries. He listened when I talked about my job at the fashion magazine. One evening, we were at a private dining room. The lighting was low, romantic. Robert was peeling shrimp for me. His long, elegant fingers made quick work of the shells. Why are you doing this? I asked, watching him place a perfect shrimp on my plate. Doing what? Being so? Good. You don't have to pretend when it's just us. Robert wiped his hands on a napkin and looked at me. I'm not pretending, Eugene. I'm your boyfriend. This is what boyfriends do. My heart did that flip again. Hello, boyfriend, I whispered, testing the word. Robert smiled. It was a small thing, just a quirk of his lips, but it transformed his face. Hello. We left the restaurant, and he drove me to my apartment. It was raining. The rhythm of the windshield wipers was hypnotic. When he parked, he didn't unlock the doors. He turned in his seat and looked at me. The atmosphere in the car shifted, becoming heavy, charged. Can I come up? He asked. I swallowed. Yes. We didn't make it to the bedroom. He kissed me the moment the door closed, pressing me against the wall. His hands were everywhere, possessing, claiming. It wasn't like the drunk night. This was deliberate. This was hungry. By the time we tangled together in my sheets, I was a mess of need. Robert, I gasped. I'm here, he growled against my neck. I've got you. Afterward, as I lay on his chest, listening to his strong, steady heartbeat, I saw him looking at the framed photo on my nightstand. It was a picture of him at his college graduation. I had taken it from the crowd. You took this? He asked. I nodded, embarrassed. Yeah. Why is it here? Because it wards off evil spirits? I joked weakly. Robert chuckled. He pulled me closer, kissing the top of my head. You're an idiot, Eugene. Yeah, I thought. I am. Because I'm falling deeper in love with you, and you're just being a good boyfriend because it's your duty. A month later, I was having lunch with my best friend, Leo. Leo was chewing on a burger, looking at me with suspicion. You're glowing. It's disgusting. What's going on? I'm dating someone, I admitted. Leo dropped his burger. Who? Is it that designer guy I introduced you to? No. It's Robert. Leo choked. Robert Sterling? The ice sculpture? The guy you've been pining over since the dawn of time? Eugene, are you insane? He's going to break your heart. He treats me well. Leo, I defended. Does he love you? I paused. He treats me well, I repeated. Leo sighed, shaking his head. You're walking into a fire, and you're bringing marshmallows. Maybe I was. But when Robert picked me up that evening, handing me a bouquet of vintage roses just because he saw them and thought of me, I didn't care about the fire. I like them, I said, burying my face in the petals. I'm glad, Robert said. He put his hand on my knee as he drove. I have to go on a business trip tomorrow. California. I'll be gone for a week. Oh. I felt a sharp pang of disappointment. Okay. Will you miss me? He asked, glancing at me. I looked out the window. Maybe. A little. Robert laughed. Just a little? I'll have to work harder then. While he was gone, I stayed at his villa to watch the house. It was huge, empty, and smelled like him. I missed him so much it physically hurt. We video chatted every night. One night, I was lying in his bed, wearing one of his shirts. You look good in my clothes, Robert said through the screen. His voice was husky. He was in his hotel room, tie loosened. Come back soon, I whispered. I'm trying, he said. I'm trying to finish early. And he did. He came back 2 days early. He showed up at the magazine office, leaning against his car, looking like a movie star in sunglasses and a gray suit. My assistant nearly fainted. Robert. I ran to him, forgetting professional decorum. He caught me, spinning me around. I missed you, he said against my ear. That weekend, he took me to a small coastal town. We walked on the beach, the wind whipping our hair. We climbed a small mountain. I almost died of exhaustion halfway up, and Robert, without a word, crouched down. Get on. People are watching, Robert. Let them watch. Get on. I climbed onto his back. He carried me up the rest of the way like I weighed nothing. I wrapped my arms around his neck, resting my chin on his shoulder. I love you, I thought. I love you so much it scares me. That night, at a local festival, fireworks exploded over the harbor. Robert pulled a small velvet box from his pocket. My breath hitched. It wasn't a ring. It was a pair of pearl earrings I had admired in a magazine weeks ago. I saw you looking at them, he said, fastening them onto my ears. They suit you. Thank you, I whispered. He looked at me, the fireworks reflecting in his dark eyes. Eugene, he said. I think we should move in together properly. I stared at him. Really? Really? I hate coming home to an empty house now. I want to come home to you. So I moved in. My things slowly filled the empty spaces of his villa. My books on his shelves. My skincare products in his bathroom. My cat, Chunky, a stray I adopted, taking over his expensive leather sofa. Robert complained about the cat hair, but I caught him feeding Chunky expensive salmon when he thought I wasn't looking. It was domestic. It was perfect. And then, the past came knocking. We were at a resort for a weekend getaway. I was in the lobby, waiting for Robert to check us out, when a man sat down opposite me. He was beautiful. Sharp features, porcelain skin, an air of effortless elegance. Eugene? He asked. I froze. Julian. Robert's ex-boyfriend. The love of his life. The one who broke Robert's heart by moving to Europe 4 years ago. Julian, I managed. You're back. I am, Julian said, eyeing me up and down. I heard you and Robert are together now. We are. Julian laughed, a brittle sound. That's funny. Robert always said he needed someone independent. You look soft. I stiffened. Robert likes me just fine. Does he? Or does he just like that you're safe? Julian leaned forward. I saw him last week, you know. I went to his office. My blood ran cold. You saw him? We caught up, Julian said breezily. Old times. He hasn't changed much. Still so? Dutiful. Just then, Robert walked up. He stopped when he saw Julian. His face went completely blank. A mask of ice. Julian, Robert said. His voice was devoid of emotion. Robert, Julian smiled. I was just chatting with your boyfriend. We're leaving, Robert said. He grabbed my hand, pulling me up. Come on, Eugene. Robert didn't look at Julian again. He marched me to the car. He drove in silence for 20 minutes. Are you okay? I asked finally. I'm fine, Robert snapped. Then he sighed. I'm sorry. I didn't know he was staying there. He said he saw you last week, I said quietly. He came to the office, Robert admitted. He wanted to get back together. And I told him to get out, Robert said. I told him I'm with you. I looked at his knuckles, white on the steering wheel. Do you still love him? Robert pulled the car over to the side of the road. He turned to me. Eugene, listen to me. Julian and I. That was a long time ago. It was toxic. He wanted drama. I wanted peace. I don't love him. I haven't loved him in years. I wanted to believe him. But the doubt was a seed, and it had taken root. A few days later, it rained. A torrential downpour. I was driving home from a client meeting when I saw a figure sitting on the curb, drenched. I slowed down. It was Julian. I could have kept driving. He was my rival. He was the ghost in my relationship. But I was Eugene. I couldn't leave a dog in the rain, let alone a person. I pulled over and rolled down the window. Get in. Julian looked up, mascara running down his face. He looked shocked to see me. I drove him to the hospital. He had twisted his ankle badly. I sat with him in the waiting room, draped my spare jacket over his shoulders, and bought him coffee. Why are you doing this? Julian asked, staring at the coffee cup. I was a bitch to you. You're hurt, I said simply. And you're shivering. Drink the coffee. Julian laughed, but it sounded wet. You're an idiot, Eugene. No wonder Robert kept you. You're too good. Robert isn't keeping me like a pet, I said sharply. No, Julian said softly. He's not. You know, when I went to his office, he didn't just tell me to leave. He told me he was planning to marry you. I froze. What? He said he's never been happier, Julian said. He said you make him feel human. I wanted to hate you. But you're sitting here, helping the ex-boyfriend who tried to wreck your relationship. You really do deserve him. My phone rang. It was Robert. Where are you? He demanded. I'm at home. You're not here. I'm at the hospital, I said. I picked up Julian. He was hurt. Silence. Then stay there. I'm coming. Robert arrived 20 minutes later. He stormed into the waiting room, water dripping from his coat. He looked at Julian, then at me. Are you okay? He asked me, ignoring Julian completely. I'm fine, I said. Julian needs a ride home. I'll call him a cab, Robert said coldly. Robert, Julian said from the wheelchair. Stop being a protective ass. I'm not going to eat him. Robert glared at him. Stay away from us, Julian. I mean it. We dropped Julian off. In the car, Robert was fuming. You shouldn't have stopped, he said. He was hurt, Robert. He's manipulative. He told me you want to marry me, I blurted out. Robert slammed on the brakes. The car skidded to a halt at a red light. The silence in the car was deafening. He turned to look at me. His anger had evaporated, replaced by something intense and vulnerable. I was going to do it properly, he muttered. Do what? This. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a ring box. It wasn't fancy wrapping. He just had it. I've been carrying this for 2 weeks, he said. I was waiting for the right moment. Maybe a fancy dinner. Maybe a trip. But I can't wait anymore. He opened the box. A simple, elegant platinum band with a single diamond. Eugene, he said, I know I'm not good at emotions. I know I'm rigid, and I work too much, and I have baggage. But you are the best thing that has ever happened to me. You taught me how to be gentle. You taught me that love isn't about drama or pain. It's about coming home to someone who makes the world quiet. Tears pricked my eyes. Robert, I love you, he said. It was the first time he had said it. I love you, Eugene. Will you marry me? I looked at the ring. I looked at the man I had loved for 6 years, the man who had bought me hot cocoa when I was 18, the man who was learning, day by day, how to give me his heart. Yes, I sobbed. Yes, you idiot. He slipped the ring on my finger. He kissed me, right there at the red light, with the rain hammering on the roof. The wedding planning was chaos. Our mothers took over, turning it into the social event of the season. I wanted to elope. Robert just laughed and kissed my forehead. Let them have their fun, he said. We know what matters. On my birthday, a month before the wedding, Robert took me out. He didn't tell me where we were going. He drove us to the city square. The same square where we met that winter night. It was late. The square was empty, lit only by the street lamps. Do you remember? He asked. Of course I remember, I said. It's where I fell in love with you. Robert took my hand. He led me to the bench. I didn't remember it for a long time, he admitted. But then, one day, I drove past here, and it hit me. I remembered a boy in a white sweater with a red nose. I remembered wanting to protect him. He sat down and pulled me onto his lap. I'm sorry it took me 6 years to catch up, he whispered. I leaned my forehead against his. You're here now. He reached into his coat pocket. I have a second gift for you. He pulled out a safety charm. It was hand-woven, red silk cord with a small gold button. It looked exactly like the one my grandmother gave me, the one I lost in the ocean months ago. I made it, he said, sounding shy for the first time in his life. I learned how to weave it. To keep you safe. I looked at the clumsy little knot at the end. Robert Sterling, the billionaire alpha, had sat in his office weaving a safety charm for me. I started crying again. I love it, I choked out. He tied it around my wrist, next to the engagement ring. Happy birthday, Eugene, he said softly. I looked at him, at the love in his eyes that was no longer hidden, no longer ambiguous. Robert, I said. Let's go get the marriage license tomorrow. Screw the ceremony. I want to be your husband now. Robert smiled. It was a smile that lit up the entire square, brighter than the moon above us. Okay, he said, kissing me. Let's go get married.